Okay, so here is my eBird dashboard. So it's going to come up. It's going to open up. It's going to have these tabs here at the top. Now you can always submit a checklist. So that a checklist basically is, you're out and about, or say that you're, sitting in your house and you're seeing birds at your feeder and things like that. And you're like, oh, well, there's a robin and there's a cardinal. And so you're counting how many of these birds you're seeing in a specified time. You would then go into submit, and we'll go through that here in just a minute. Explore is a tab. This is where you really can get in some cool tools here at eBird. So these, I'm going to actually click on that, or actually, no, I'll wait to click on that here in a minute. And then my eBird, so that just kind of pulls up your specific to you dashboard. So here is my eBird. So over the course of the entire time, I've birded, or, frankly, there's a lot of things on here I didn't have when I went overseas. I did not put my species observed into my eBird. But here and there, I've done it recently. I've been starting more to put more of them online. So you can actually click through and you can see where bird here. And then where I had seen it. And then this is just the state and country code. And then the date, and then you can actually open it up further. So, for example, actually, yesterday let's see, I was at Dunbar Slough, which is over, there it is, which is over near Scranton, Iowa, or Jefferson. It's kind of near, Jefferson's a little bit bigger. So what's kind of cool, so this is what, you can see the date, I saw it yesterday. This is the location, so you can actually click that. It'll open up and show you a map. And then here is you can open up this specific bird. So you can click on that. And it opens up, and this is the bird that I saw yesterday. Pretty rare find for this date and for Greene County, which is where the county in which Dunbar is. What's kind of cool is, so over here, I should say these little this information. So we've got the common name, blackneck stilt, and then this is the scientific name. And then this also tells you, okay, so these are highlighted, the blue. Yep, I've seen it. Yes, I have taken a photo of it. This one is grayed out. I did not do audio. And then for this year, yes, I've seen it this year. So, and anyway, so then you can scroll down. You can see a little bit more about the bird. You can see where it's seen. You can kind of zoom in over here if you really want to. And then over here, you can choose a region. And we'll talk about weekly bar charts here in just a minute. So then these are other photos that have been taken of the bird. And then thanks to the Macaulay Library, which is part of Cornell Lab of Ornithology, you can listen to the call of the bird too. So, which is amazing that this is all in one place. Frankly, there's very few sites in which an entire group of animals like birds where you can find all this information. And frankly, like I said, this is the checklist from yesterday because I'm here in Iowa. But I could, if I wanted to, pull up and look at a bird that's native to Russia too. So, I mean, like, it's just, it's amazing. So that's what it sounds like. So a little bit loud, and then you can just kind of exit back out of there. And then there are videos and things that are taken too. So, also you see this, you probably, maybe noticed on, the little, pictures and things, you see this Merlin, Cornell Lab, and then it says Merlin. So Merlin is the app. So when I was out birding at the slough, I had turned the app on, and I'll talk, I guess, a little bit about the app right now since it's kind of pulled up right here. Get it through your App Store or Google Play. So on the app, you can actually pull it up, and it is basically a virtual guidebook or a field guide. So what's kind of cool though is you can search things based on location. You can search things based on time of year. So I can actually go in, like if I was, like, for example, yesterday I was at Dunbar Slough, and I can search for, okay, today's date, what is likely to be seen in Greene County on April 18th. And so that is really helpful, especially if you're a new birder, because sometimes, the list can just be massive, or especially if you're looking at like shorebirds or warblers or sparrows, some of these birds that are really hard to identify if you're brand spanking new to this. So this is super, super helpful. So obviously they'll give you on the app, they'll have birds or pictures of the birds as well as descriptions. And they'll also tell you if it's rare. Sorry, I don't know why it's getting all fuzzy on me. They'll also... Oh, there it goes. So then they'll also tell you if it's rare, which is can be helpful too, because if you see something, all over the place, not to say it's not rare, but it may help you kind of take a second look and make sure you have identified it correctly. And then also, like I mentioned, the Macaulay library, which I played a minute ago, all of those sounds are then available on the app as well. And then, of course, they also have, you can pull up a map and see like which area is non-breeding, breeding, and if they are there all year long. The probably best thing in my opinion about Merlin, about the app, is that once you download, like say for example, like I've downloaded like the US Midwestern quote unquote pack is what they call it. Once I've downloaded the Midwestern pack, I don't need internet access to run Merlin. So for example, if I'm up in super Northeast Iowa, up near like Decorah and Waukon, there are many places up there that I do not get signal, even if I wanted to use mobile data. And so what's great is Merlin doesn't need any of that to run, which is pretty awesome. So online virtual field guide, super, super useful. So I'm going to scroll back up here. So this is kind of in that part of, I'm going to go back so we can get back to ours. So these are all the birds that I've checked off, at least online, that I've seen in the past. And then we're going to go back up and we're going to go back. So we're back to the beginning. And then, okay, so I'm going to jump into Explore. So Explore is so cool and it can be super useful. So say that I'm looking for a specific species. So I can, so for example, the other day, a couple days ago, I was on the lookout. I was on the hunt for an American avocet. Have yet to see one in the wild. So they're a beautiful shorebird. And so again, like none of these are checked because I haven't seen any of these. But what's cool is now this kind of looks the same as what we just saw a minute ago, with the exception of choose a region to view the bar chart. So, okay, so enter a county, state, province, or, so we're just going to put Iowa. It's going to be pretty broad, but we'll just see what happens. Okay, so this is the part that is just so cool. So here's your bar chart. So this tells you if it is February 5th and you think you see an avocet, the chances of it being an avocet might be pretty low. So this is like, especially for migrators, this is a super helpful chart. So it'll tell you, so the frequency of seeing the bird. So actually right now in Iowa is a good time to see avocets. Is it the best? No, the best time is going to be the beginning of May. But again, you have to remember there's seasonal variations as well, especially with migrations, and everything from late snowfalls like Iowa's been experiencing this last week, to all storms, tornado, all kinds of other things can impact, how they move through the region. So now this over here, it looks a little odd. I know. So this is the state of Iowa, and these purple chunks, these are areas where they've been seen. Or they're going to be most likely, their frequency is higher. So as you get darker, so this is up, further up into Minnesota, southwestern Minnesota, you can see that they're really, really much more frequent up here, but they're less frequently seen down here. Now this could be one, people may just not be getting it on their checklist, or there's just more of them that end up all coming together, less actually migrate through Iowa. One thing that's kind of cool too is, now I know that this is a shorebird, or shorb, as us birders call them, but you can actually see, if you notice, where they kind of end up in these lines. So here's another line. And then there's generally a whole bunch moving through here and then up here. And what do all of these areas have in common? They all are major rivers in Iowa. So you've got your big rivers on the side, and then you have your Cedar, your flyway, kind of your eastern Iowa flyway, and then your big central Iowan flyway. So you're going to see there's obviously more of them here because this area of Iowa traditionally has always had more wetlands. We call this the prairie pothole region. So this is weekly bar charts. This can be super helpful for trying to figure it out. And obviously, if we had done something a little bit more specific, like if I had said like Black Hawk County or something, then we would have had an even more accurate bar chart. So, but sometimes it's nice to just do the whole state so you can kind of get a little narrowed in on where, like, say, for example, if you want to travel to see a bird or something like that. So, okay, I am going to scroll up. We're going to go back a little bit. So that's one way you can use the Explore Species. And then over on the right, you have the Explore Regions. So this is, again, basically the same concept, only let's do Black Hawk. Let's do Black Hawk here. And then also don't put the word county in. It doesn't really like that. Okay, so it pulls up Black Hawk. So obviously map, you can click on that. But again, not a big, not super helpful because you obviously know where Black Hawk is, Black Hawk County. So here, all years. So this is where you can change your stuff. So you can go all years. So these are all the birds that have been found in Black Hawk County for all years. And then you could do the current year. So I'm going to click on that actually. And then you hit set. And that's going to run it. So, yep, 132 species have been seen this year, which is pretty awesome. And then you can go down the list. So, you know how before when we had those species like the American avocet, the American avocet up, that's when you can see like more about the species. So it'll give you all that other information. Okay, so count, obviously 2, that's how many they saw, the date, and then who actually saw it. So Chris and Craig Rash are part of the Prairie Rapids Audubon group. So they are some great birders to be following. So for example, over here, recent visits, you can see all these people have submitted checklists for here in Black Hawk County. So, and maybe some names you recognize. And also you can see too here, species. You can see how many species each checklist. So how many species they saw when they were doing their walk or whatever however they were birding. So you can scroll down. You can see again, so these birds were all seen in Black Hawk County recently. And then you can also go into first seen high count. So that means like if 300 Canada goose were seen or geese were seen, then you'll see that as a high count. Bar charts, we talked about that a minute ago. Basically the same situation, only they'll list like all of these birds all on one page in bar charts. And then a printable checklist. So that can be helpful if you want to take something more in your hand on the road. Okay, hotspots. Hotspots are super helpful for finding where the birds are at. So here in Black Hawk County, what is the best place to find birds right now? George Wythe State Park. Sometimes in this case, like George Wythe State Park is a big place and they have other areas that are more specific. So here, Brinker Lake is the large lake within George Wythe State Park. And so there are some things that are specifically seen at Brinker Lake. And so depending on what you're doing, it's nice to get more specific. So if you did see all the birds at Brinker Lake, please try to do it a little bit more specifically because that's always helpful. So as you scroll on the list, Martin Lake, that's off Highway 63. All these different areas should probably be pretty, and I should say, if you don't know what any of these places are, like say, you see Riverview RA, you're like, what the heck is that? You can click on it and then it will pull up. It'll give the latest checklist and it looks like Tom Schilke. He's a big part of the Prairie Rapids Audubon. He did a checklist on the 14th. And then you can go over up here in the corner and with your map, you can click on it. It opens it up. It shows you where it's at. That's what these little teardrops are. And you can actually go out. You can actually then click through and get your high counts and all that kind of stuff too. But you can also click out of that and zoom in to see exactly where you were. And so this is Riverview RA. It stood for recreation area. I believe these are, some people may call these the old sand pits, Mitchell sand pits. So, but the technical, I think the official name for the park is Riverview recreation area. So yeah, and then just like you then can, one nice thing, especially I've used this when I've been out of town, you can hit directions. So then it goes through Google Maps, and you can go through and figure out how to get there if you want to go there. So let's see. All right. One last thing. We've done those. If you know the specific hotspot, so we talked, here's more like bar charts, target species, like I said, alerts. There's so much more you can do with eBird that this video is already crazy long. So, okay, hotspots. So if you know the name of the hotspot, so for example, I know like I went to Dunbar Slough, and this is one of those general locations. It tells you to do more specific. So I saw the stilt on the 250th, and so it basically skips all that previous, so you can go directly to the hotspot. Also, what's kind of nice is you then can click, if there's multiple hotspots, you can click through the different ones, and it pulls up all the different, like if an area has a lot of hotspots in one, then you can take a look and see where the checklists are coming from. So this is a crazy long video, so thanks for sticking with me. And if you want to do, then the actual app is also very easy to use. It basically is done the same thing on the desktop, or as I did on the desktop, but you can just do that on Merlin's app. The actual app that you use to collect information, so to do your checklist, is called eBird, is the name of that actual app. So you can go in and it's super even simpler than Merlin. It is literally has like almost like 3 buttons, and it says checklist, start your checklist, and it walks you through how to do everything. So one little note, if you record something that is rare or uncommon, it usually does require you to put in comments. So that basically means like if you have a photo you can add to it, or some other, like for example, I was at Hickory Hills and there was a snow goose there. It's uncommon to have snow geese at Hickory Hills for was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever the date was. It was uncommon to have snow geese there. And so I had to put in a comment. And because I know that thanks to, I had spoken to the ranger, thinks there's something going on that basically didn't allow the bird to migrate. Or migrate with the rest of the group. So he's been hanging out with some Canada geese. So that's how, so I put those comments then into eBird so that way there's a little bit. And frankly, just because you see a rare bird doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means just to double check and be super, super sure that that's what it is. And if you can gather evidence to support your checklist, then that's even better. So, but I get it. It's sometimes kind of hard to photograph birds, especially if you're new on the block, especially songbirds and things that are in brush and in thickets and things that are hard to take pictures of. But yeah, so I'm sorry this is so long. If I've already lost you, I totally understand. But if you have any other more questions about how to like work eBird or something like that, definitely give us a call. Definitely shoot us a message and we will hopefully be able to help you through it. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging with me this whole time. Hopefully this gives a better explanation of what this tool or how to use this tool, because it's super helpful for birding. All right. Thank you.